What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to be talking about two things. One, red dots, green dots, whatever you want to call it, optics on everyday carry choices. And two is having a flashlight on your everyday carry option, right? Because it's really weird. On YouTube, I do videos asking questions, taking polls. On top of that, when I go to the local range or the local firearm store, I'm always asking people questions. Like, is that full size your main carry? Why do you carry that? Is it just because you're at work and you can open carry and it's a big firearm with a light and it's all decked out and it's all tactical and all this stuff? Or do you actually carry that outside when you're going to the park, when you're just running to the mailbox, when you're just going to get gas real quick? I always ask people, and they tend to justify their everyday carry option, so I'm like, fair enough. If you got something on you, that's your preference, it's what you like. But something that's always confused me, and I think a lot of people are also confused, are lights and red dots, right? And we're going to get into it. But before we get started, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think about lights on everyday carry options, optics on everyday carry options. Let me know, are they a necessity for everyday carry? Now let's get into it. Also, hit that subscribe button. There's nothing wrong with it. It's free. Help support the channel. If you're not going to do a donation, that's a great way to help out the channel, and I appreciate it all. So thank you, guys. Now, as you can see right here, this is one of my Glock 26s that I absolutely love. It's all OEM internals. Yes, I have a True Precision barrel in it. My old barrel got really worn out from round count, so I like to swap barrels out and stuff. But pretty simple, right? All OEM internals, a couple little things change, but absolutely love this thing, right? Great shooter, reliable, whatever the case may be. But you also notice there is no light. And yes, I know the Glock 26 doesn't have a rail, but you can get the TLR6 for it, 150 lumens or whatever the case may be. Also, this one's not optics cut. I don't have an optic on it. I have some Glock 26 with optics, others without. Just like I have Hellcats without optics, Hellcats without. It just is what it is. But one thing that's always confused me is, do you need a flashlight for everyday carry? And I heard both things said before on why you should. I've heard Navy SEALs say, yes, you should absolutely have a flashlight. But I've also heard other people say, no, you don't need one. And for me, I would say the main thing is I don't tend to go outside when it's dark out. I tend not to leave my house when it's late. That's just a good, easy way to avoid things from happening. But I do understand everyone's got a different life, and they have to go do certain things. And so sometimes they're required to work at night or leave the house at night, or they start early when it's dark out and stuff like that. So they tend to carry with a light. If you're not law enforcement or in the military or whatever the case may be, should you use a light outside of your work? I'm not 100% sure. Because in my opinion, if I have a light on my firearm, and this is a self-defense encounter, chances are it's up close and personal. Chances are they're already on me. They're within 10, 15 yards of me, right? Are you really going to have the time to go and turn your light on? And you shouldn't even be aiming your firearm if you don't know that that target is the threat. You shouldn't be flagging random things trying to get onto your target. You should only be using your firearm or pulling your firearm out if you know that your target is that in front of you, which your firearm will be aimed at. Top of that, you should obviously never have your finger on that trigger unless you know who it is. I've heard say, oh yeah, keep your finger off the trigger and just, find your target, but that's not how self-defense encounters are. Normally, you're not getting fully extended and doing like range shooting, right? A lot of people go to the range and they just shoot fully extended. They don't shoot one-handed. They don't shoot close by their body. They don't shoot like self-defense style. It's always just standing there, no movement, and I get that, right? It's really easy to shoot like that and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, your skills are what's going to matter, so you need to train off-handed, just one-handed. You literally need to train everything. When it comes to a light, I don't think you need a light for everyday carry, and that's just my opinion. Like I said, chances are if it's self-defense at night, that attacker or that threat needs to see you. And in order for them to see you, there would have to be some sort of light, or they'd have to be really close to you. Therefore, I don't think you need a flashlight. Can it hurt you? No, I don't think so, but I think it could get you in trouble when it comes to flagging and stuff like that. Because in order to see something, you're going to have to turn your flashlight on, but you're going to have it aimed. And some people said, oh, just don't aim your flashlight, at what you think it is. But I said that sort of defeats the purpose of your flashlight at that point, because it's supposed to find your target. But while finding your target, think about it. You are flagging all these potential things, and that just could be an absolute nightmare. So I just avoid going out at night all the time, but just in case, I do have this setup. And I do understand there are other reasons for flashlights and stuff like that, but I think a personal handheld is plenty. I think having a simple setup like this, but also making sure I have a good brand, a trusted brand, a reliable handheld, and you're good to go. Because that you can actually flag without putting anybody in danger, right? They're two separate entities at that point, right? So that firearm can be here with that trigger, your finger off that trigger while you're finding whatever, if it came down to that. If you're really searching for your target, though, chances are they're not the biggest threat to you, and that can always cause legal issues. That can cause, is that actually self-defense if they were that far away from you, whatever the case may be. So I don't think a light is necessary, but I also don't think it can hurt. The reason why I don't carry with a light mainly is I try to stay as comfortable as possible. And as you can see with my Hellcat right here, it added an extra 3/4 of an inch, maybe half an inch to the overall setup of the firearm. With a 3-inch barrel, that's not too bad. That's like carrying my Glock 26 in length. But at the same time, once you start getting into these larger firearms and stuff, it gets bulkier. Even though this doesn't protrude from the barrel in the slide, you've now added all this extra meat to your holster because you still need this part right here. So it's got to be even longer. So a holster that is light bearing is longer, more uncomfortable, especially if you carry appendix. So in my opinion, no, you don't need a light, but it doesn't hurt. Now red dots. You're going to say, why do you have a red dot on there? In my opinion, I'm just fine with iron sights. I'm great at shooting with iron sights. But with the firearms I do have optics on, I do like to have a co-witness, which helps because if this ever fails me, then I have my backup. I've seen a lot of firearms on YouTube where the person literally, massive channels too, they have their optic, but their sights are buried. And I just never understood that, because what happens when those sights fail you? But once again, we get into the question, are we really going to be fully extended in self-defense and using our red dots, right? Because you can't see your red dot here. You can't see your red dot here. You can start to see it when you're extended, right? But when you're in a self-defense encounter, being fully extended isn't the smartest thing, especially with a semi-auto. Now with a revolver, it's a little different. But a semi-auto, all they got to do is slide your slide back a little bit, and it's now out of battery. So literally every firearm here you see, if you're up close and personal, all that person needs to do is grab your slide a little bit, and that thing's out of battery. So you don't have the time to get fully extended, for one. Two, that's not even a good plan to get fully extended. Three, you need to learn and take defensive pistol classes to learn to shoot one-handed, shoot low from the hip, real low from the draw, down here I'm talking about, and just practice that. Go to the woods somewhere, set up a couple targets, and get real close to it so you can get the real feel of how it feels. If you've ever shot a target from 2 feet away, doing self-defense and counter drills 5 feet away, you feel the heat. It's a whole different ball game of shooting. If you're shooting from the hip, it can even be nerve-wracking. If you're shooting from your chest, like up close on your chest, your thumb is resting on your chest, it can be nerve-wracking. But in self-defense, that's how it's going to be. You're going to be letting off a lot of shots fast, and chances are it's going to be up close and personal. So red dots, in my opinion, it's sort of a distraction in a way, and teaches people not the actual fundamentals of just using regular iron sights. Now, I get there's a lot of hype behind it. There's a lot of marketing dollars. It looks cool. The dot looks cool. But in reality, you don't need anything much more than this for everyday carry. Like I said, lights are a little different for me. I'm fine. I always carry a mini O-light flashlight. Very easy to carry everywhere. And I also have a couple bigger O-light flashlights. Very easy. A lot of them rechargeable. Last a long time. Will be plenty for anything I'm involved in. It just is what it is. But with an optic, you don't need it. Get a nice pair of night sights. Some sights you're good at shooting with. Ameriglow cap sights are my favorite. Right here are Ameriglow eye dots. I also love this setup. Very easy to use, and in the dark, this is a great setup to have because it's so easy to find those 2 dots, right? So, very easy to use. In my opinion, a good, reliable firearm that you've tested, that you trust, with some good iron sights and a handheld pocket flashlight, you're good to go. Trust me. Optics, yes, they help for people with bad eyes and stuff like that, but that's when you're shooting like this. A lot of self-defense encounters, you're not going to be like this. You're going to be back here to where those sights don't even mean anything anymore. But anyways, guys, let me know in the comments. We can agree to disagree, whatever the case may be. Put it down below. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.